I have a feeling that if we have a lot of people in here for this episode of the Barbecue Pit, it will be from Chattanooga. I believe Chattanooga is in Tennessee. I'm sure if I get swarmed with a bunch of them, they will tell me that I'm wrong, correct. But welcome to Barbecue Pit. We're going to go over a quick video today. Um, UFC Nashville. Stephen the Wonder Boy Thompson fighting Anthony Pettis in his welterweight debut. Just to mix up the welterweight picture a little bit more. Um, Karate guy versus same kind of, I guess, same style of karate, except he has a more of a flashy kind of style. He's got he likes to do crazy things. Anthony Pettis, he's a crazy guy, and he's such a crazy guy that he ends up hurting himself in a lot of his previous fights, which is what he did in his last one against Tony Ferguson, which they called a TKO. I think he stopped the fight because he was broke his hand or something like that. So it sucks. He's 3-6 since losing the title to Dos Anjos. That includes the Dos Anjos. So if you don't include Dos Anjos, he's 3-5 after Dos Anjos loss when he lost the title. Um, he's looking to get back in the mix. He's switching to weight classes. He's coming up. Uh, Stephen Thompson, always a hard cookie to crack. Um, Anthony Pettis is a bad man, but I think Stephen Thompson's just really, really good at point fighting his way to victories most nights. And Stephen Thompson's actually never been finished. I think all three of his losses are by decision, and that's where I think Anthony Pettis' best bet lies is in the finish, where I don't think he's going to get that over Wonder Boy. So I got Stephen Thompson, Greenville, upstate South Carolina kid, Wonder Boy, by decision, 5th round decision. Curtis Blades versus Justin Willis, both up and comers. Curtis Blades, I think, fighting more of the. They both fought Mark Hunt and beat Mark Hunt. And Curtis Blades has also beat Alistair Overeem. Curtis Blades also, those only two losses are to Francis Ngannou, 5-2-1 in the UFC, 10-2-1 in his overall MMA career. So the only two losses ever in his MMA career are to Francis Ngannou, pro MMA career, or to Francis Ngannou. He'll be fighting big boy Justin Willis, 8-1 pro record, 4-0 in the UFC. He lost his debut. Since then, he has knockout wins over Alan Crowder, Chase Sherman, and then, of course, we mentioned Mark Hunt as of recently, which we believe to be Mark Hunt's retirement fight. Um, so, uh, you know, I think it's a classic mismatch of stylistic abilities, where they're both kind of decent in each other's game. Curtis Blades, I believe, 8 out of 10 of his wins are by knockout. Even though he has a great wrestling background, 8 out of 10 of his wins by knockout. That being said, I think both of the losses to Ngannou by knockout. He's susceptible to a power punch. He's susceptible to when he takes damage going out. He took a lot of damage from Mark Hunt, but not near enough to finish the fight. So, it pains me to say this because I almost think maybe Curtis Blades will go on a skid right now where he's going to lose a couple fights. Kind of Darren Tillish. Sorry, but I didn't mean to do that so quick, but sort of Darren Tillish. and just kind of start declining. I really don't think that's going to happen with Blaze. I think he's going to get back to his basics. He's going to win some fights, of course, against a younger guy, against um, Justin Willis, 9 fights to Curtis Blades, 13. Four more fights does a little bit for you in the MMA world. I would assume 4 fights worth of experiences. Maybe it's not fucking Conor McGregor versus Billy Joe, who trains down at the Mini Mart. Maybe it's not that big of a difference, but there's still a difference. There's still a pretty significant difference as a guy progresses, and definitely as you can tell, success. Success plays a big part in that. I think that's how Justin Willis has gotten himself to this dance. Success has made him very confident. You know how it is with confident people in the UFC. They're going to prosper. So I think it got him to the dance. I think it's also what's going to take him out of the dance. Curtis Blades is going to take him out. I'd say 3rd round TKO. I think he lasts to the 3rd round. John McDessie versus Jesus Pinedo. Newer name for me, Pinedo. 2nd fight in the UFC. First one was a decision win over Devin Powell. 16-4-1 pro records, which means that this guy had 20 pro fights before he got into the UFC. So it took him a minute, man. And 16-4 record is a good record. So it's not like, he's not noticeable. He's winning fights. Well, should have been on the radar. But 20 fights later, and he fights in his first fight in the UFC, and then this will be his second fight. Yeah, a UFC veteran. Let's say John McDessie, 9-6 in the UFC. So what's that? 15 fights. Excuse me. Drinking coffee. Yeah, I might get the burps and shit. 2-fight winning streak McDessie's on right now. Evo Trujillo and Ross Pearson. So, I mean, he's stretching out these wins here. It's hard. I think this one is going to be either one of 2 fights. This is either going to be the most boring fight of the card, or this will be the most exciting fight of the not main event. So I think the main event. I think Stephen Thompson is going to be tired of that whole shtick that he's boring and yada yada. So I think he's going to come out with some action. So I think that's gonna be a great fight. But this may challenge for it if it goes the opposite way of being the boringest fight on the card. Pinedo's new, man, hungry. Upsets happen. I like calling upsets all the time, and I'm gonna go Jesus Pinedo. Knockout, fucking first round, just because. Who's gonna tell me not to, right? Jesse Formiga versus and bear with me, guys. Bear with me. Stevenson Figueiredo. Formiga is 22-5 in the MMA. So he's a vet too. 27 fights. He's been around the block. He's got. Let's just say you have, if you have 5 fights a year, which is a lot, you're in for 5 years. It's 25, so you're in for 5 years and a half, almost 5.5 years as a pro. Which you don't. You have like 2 in a year, then you have 3. You get injured and you have 1. So forth, so on and so forth. So essentially, he got up to. He's probably 7, 8, 9, 10 years in the game. I did not look that fact up. As you can see, I'm reading off the fucking thing. I did not look up what year. but he's been doing it for a minute. He's got no knockout wins. All his wins come from submission or decision. So we're not expecting a high level stand up. He's going to want to get to the fight to the ground almost immediately if he can. So I think the fight really depends on how quickly he could or if he could do that, because Figueiredo is a great all-around fighter. He's a good submission guy. He's good at wrestling. He's good at striking. He's very good at striking. Um, he actually he's 15-0, so he's not lost a fight yet in his pro record. 4-0 in the UFC. 13 out of 15 of his wins are finishes, so submissions and knockouts combined. Only two wins of his were by decision, 0 losses. Notable wins in the UFC are Jared Brooks and John Moraga. So, if you can't guess, if you have, all right, check it out. If you have watched any of these episodes before, and you come here today, and you can't guess who I'm going to pick in this fight, I won't say nothing bad about you. But I'm going to go with Davinson. Davinson Figueiredo. Yeah, knockout first round. I don't think Formiga's getting him to the ground, aka. Then you got Luis Pena, Steven Pearson. Steven Pearson, he lost a contender series fight to Benito Lopez not too long ago. He beat Dustin Winter in LFA. Quickly after that, right after that, he's back to the UFC where he went 1-1. His first fight being a decision loss to Brandon Davis. And then he went on most recently to have a decision win over Matt. Fuck, if you could pronounce his name. Bestier. That was back in July, so I mean, that's almost a year ago. Not even, it's probably like 7 months, 6 months ago. But it's a half a year ago that this guy fought 1-1 in the UFC, so he's a newer guy. If he doesn't get his name ringing soon, he's going to be on the way out. Versus Luis Pena, who's had his name ringing, 5-1 as a pro, came up through Ultimate Fighter, lost to Mike Triziano. His most recent fight is a very, very controversial split decision loss, but he is back fighting Steven Pearson, and I got Luis Pena by decision, domination decision. Like, could have some 10-8s in there out of those 3 rounds. Definitely possible for some 10-8s. There's another fight on the main card that I didn't want to look into. I will look into it at a different time, but I didn't have time tonight. I'm going to write a couple articles about these things that I'm going to talk to you about pretty soon. And then we got some work to do on the Island Fights 54 card. I've been talking to a couple of fighters there. So we're writing some stuff up about that already. But we will be going to Panama City this Friday to cover Island Fights 54, headlined by Mike Davis and Carlos Guerrera. So, also on the UFC Nashville card on the prelims, Macy Babe Barber versus JJ Aldridge, Frankie Sains versus Juan Vera, Alexis Davis, Jennifer Maya, Brandon Marcos, Angela Hill. So very strong card for the women fights. Extremely strong card for the women fights. Alan Quinto was just booked to fight Don Cerrone. I think that's finalized in a main event for the May 4th card. I think that's in Canada. So Conor McGregor's reason for not wanting to fight Don Cerrone was because it wasn't a main event. And what does Cerrone get? A main event. Yes, it's fight night, but it's a main event. Makes him look a little stupid, in my opinion. Great fight, Don Cerrone and Ali Quinta. Can't wait. Frank Mir, Dan Severn are going to be fighting at Josh Barnett's Bloodsport event on April 4th in Newark, New Jersey, which is exciting as fuck to hear, because when the fuck is Dan Severn's last time he fought? It's fucking gotta been since mad long ago. We'll look that up right while we're fucking talking to you guys right now. Dan Severn. Last MMA fight. Fucking 2012. 7 years ago. This dude hasn't fought in 7 years, about to fight Frank Mir. I think I might have heard words that it was like a combat jiu-jitsu thing or whatever. I'm going to be so disappointed if it is, because I heard it. I also heard it was an MMA event, so I'm really looking forward to that. I wanted to touch really quick before we wrapped up on the UFC London drama where Jorge Masvidal knocked out Darren Till. I'm a big fan of Darren Till, so that was drama in itself to me. But after the fights, Leon Edwards came up to Masvidal talking shit in the backstage area, and Masvidal walked up, gave him a 4-piece with a fucking 10 sodas on the side. He said a 3-piece in the soda. I say that was a 4-piece and fucking 10 sodas. He gets a soda per piece. He gave him then some, because you get unlimited soda for that. And then I just think 4, because you can't. I definitely think he threw 4 punches, so I'm throwing 4. Be a dick, but 4-piece and some sodas, and fucked him up bad, because Leon Edwards, you seen him at the end of the fight with Gunnar Nelson that he won, and he didn't really have a little bit, but he didn't have much on him at all. When he got pictures taken after he got teed up by Masvidal, his face looked like there was a golf ball on it. Right where there was a golf ball, looked like it was a fucking gash that needed stitches. I don't know how deep it was, but it looked like it needed stitches. So he got fucking teed up after the fight. And it's crazy, man. Just don't talk shit. Both these guys are about the same shit, though. They're both, you know what I'm saying, from different backgrounds. And it's going to be interesting to see if they book them, man. It's going to be a crazy, 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 crazy build-up. I think that could be another, Garbrandt Dillashaw. They try to bring out these rivalries all the time from non-superstars to try to make superstars. Garbrandt Dillashaw was the same thing, so I think they're going to try to make an attempt here with Leon Edwards and Jorge Masvidal. But we'll see. We'll see. That's it for this Tuesday. Of course, catch us this Friday. We will not be posting anything live. We will be taking video this Friday, which means that we will probably have some footage to upload either Monday or Tuesday or next week, as far as for the Island Fights event on Friday. Other than that, catch us again on next Tuesday. We'll be coming for, I think, predictions of I cannot remember off the top of my head where we're going after this. This isn't Atlanta after this, right? I don't think this is Atlanta after Nashville. I don't think they were that close. Or maybe there's a week jump. I don't know. March 30th. Philadelphia. Barboza and Gaethje, which is also a great fucking card shaping up. David Branch, Jack Hermanson, Josh Emmett, Michael Johnson, Kovacevic, Michelle Waterson. Sadiq Yusuf will be fighting next weekend against Shaman Moraes. Yusuf is the man who gave Mike Davis the main event of Island Fights 54 this Friday. His one and only loss in the Contender Series. So now he will be the opening fight of a main card in Philadelphia next weekend. That's how close Mike Davis is. Right there on the cusp. Ross Pearson also on the card versus Desmond Green. Good fight there. Kevin Holland, Gerald Miscrit. Ray Borg is back. Kyler Phillips. Mark De La Rosa, who I think is married to Montana De La Rosa, if I'm not mistaken. But I may be wrong about that. This might be the wrong guy. But either way, great card coming up this Friday for Island Fights, this Saturday in Nashville, and then next Saturday for Philadelphia. But either way, we will see more footage of the event from this Friday, and then we will see you back here